Hello and welcome to the movie podcast review of Marty Supreme. My name is Daniel. I'm one of your hosts today, and joining alongside me are my ping pong compadres, Shahbaz.
Hello.
And Anthony.
Hello. Just mimicking Shay.
I was so scared saying that because like the alliteration of saying ping pong compadres, I definitely thought I was going to mess it up, but I'm glad that it came out. Just one shot. I got it out.
I'm glad you did because I was a little worried that, tongue twisters aside, people would be like, what the hell is he saying?
Yeah, like we're not even warmed up yet, but we're here. We're talking about Marty Supreme. This is a big one. This is one, our dreams are big, and this review is going to be even bigger. We've been waiting so long to watch Marty Supreme, and it's been crazy that I think, the last few Decembers, we've been really hanging out with Timothée Chalamet a lot. So we had Marty Supreme this Christmas. Last year, we had A Complete Unknown. The Christmas before that was Wonka. Like Timothée Chalamet, I'm sure there was other ones as well too that I'm missing out here. But Timothy is really loving that that Christmas time. Timothée Chalamet is all about Christmas, and we're approaching that season, so it's been great to have new Timothy movies to look forward to. And if you're a longtime listener or watcher of the movie podcast, this is somebody that we've spoken about so often. Like, especially in those early days, that was always like the running joke of like, who's going to be on the movie podcast one day? Timothée Chalamet. Marty Supreme, A24, Elevation Pictures. We want to say a huge thank you to them for inviting us to watch this film. Like we said, this stars Timothée Chalamet in a role that we will 100% be seeing him, I think, nominated, and this film nominated for. This is going to be a big one for the rest of the year. It also stars Gwyneth Paltrow, Odessa A'zion, Abel Ferrara, and Tyler Okonma, who is Tyler, the creator, who is just using his real birth Christian name there. But also Kevin O'Leary, Shark Tank, Dragon's Den, Canada's very own Kevin O'Leary is in this. We're going to talk all about this. Marty Supreme is going to be in theaters on December 25th. So if you want to open up a gift this year, and if you want to dream big, Marty Supreme is going to be there for you. Of course, we're the movie podcast. You can catch brand new episodes all throughout the week with new reviews, episodes, interviews, and all the latest movies and series. We have so much coming out. This is December, if you could believe it. By the time you're watching this review, it is December. We are nearly at Christmas when you could watch this movie. We definitely have plans to take some time off towards the end of the year, but please, if you want some company, we have so many episodes and reviews and videos for you to watch to keep you company throughout the holiday season. If you want to stay nice and cozy with us, check out our show notes below to see everything that we have going on and more. But let's get to our thoughts on Marty Supreme. Anthony, I'm going to get you to start us off. Give us your first reaction to Josh Safdie's Marty Supreme.
Yeah, Marty Supreme is one of the wildest rides I've experienced this year in cinema, like in the theater. Like it is a movie that I think I only watched the first teaser. I didn't really watch the trailer because I enjoyed that teaser. I'm like, I don't need to know too much. And going into it, I was just captivated by the story. And we were talking about this in the car. I thought this guy was like a made-up person. This is a real life, kind of loosely based on this dude. And I just was like, man, this guy is such an interesting person, and I could see this character over and over in different stories. Like that saying of the most interesting man in the world. Like, this is what I felt like. This guy feels like the most interesting man in the world. He's doing ping pong. He's charming. He's really witty and really sharp and quick. And Timothée Chalamet plays him so well. And you go on this adventure of this character, and he gets into the wildest situations. And it for me, it was a movie that I was so focused on, but it's also a movie that just felt like they're not trying hard, like they're not trying to win awards. Like, like those movies are like, oh, these are the performances that draw these awards out. Like they're really going for a classic film that has that timelessness to it. And that's what Marty Supreme is. It has a timelessness to the visual look of it, to the soundtrack that's at point, like for me, the soundtrack is euphoric. Like it has more of an impact than the visuals at times. It has these great performances, and everyone on page is working together to tell this story. very much like Oppenheimer, where you have all these characters telling the story and they're just trying to get this movie to be something. This is what this movie is. There's nothing crazy in terms of Timothy's um present. Like he's not really trying his hardest to be like, I'm going to win this Academy Award because I know I'm the greatest actor alive at this moment. No, he's just being Marty and Gwyneth Paltrow and Odessa and these small little characters. Tyler, the creator, who I was just blown away by his performance. I'm like, damn, this guy's so good. The only person I think could have dealt with and not have was probably Kevin.
Mr. Wonderful.
I think he could have been replaced by anyone else. But overall, I was just, yeah, this movie's destined to be one of the greatest.
I love that you said euphoric, Anthony, because I think that was the word that I wanted to use as well, too, when describing this film. That's kind of what you feel throughout the entirety of Marty Supreme. It is a euphoric experience. You're going to be feeling euphoria throughout this film, and especially how this movie opens. This is the craziest opening sequence of the year, and you will be sitting in your seat, you'll be watching what's happening, and you'll be like, okay, we're going here. And I love that it just commits to that. And, I think Josh Safdie, there's this, you look at, there's so much to Marty Supreme that I loved. The feeling of anxiety, that feeling of just like this person is just constantly trying to survive and make the wrong decisions throughout the entirety of it. It's very much like Uncut Gems. And obviously coming from Josh Safdie and Benny Safdie, Darius Khondji, who is the cinematographer of Uncut Gems, is also back for Marty Supreme, and you feel that. It's a very beautiful looking film. Partner that with the incredible soundtrack that mixes, a lot of jams from the 50s and 60s and 80s, but it never feels out of place. Like, I always think back like to The Great Gatsby and how that used more modern music, but it's in a different time period setting. This movie takes place all in the 50s, but when you hear the music that's playing, you're like, this makes sense. This feels like this is the exact right song for this moment, even though it's not from this era. But that's just kind of how music plays in movies. When you have a score that whatever that score is, whether it's a song from today or just a song from 100 years ago or an orchestra, you need to have something that suits that moment. And I think Marty Supreme is filled with music that matches those moments. And I want to give our shout out to Daniel Lopatin, who is the composer for this film, who's just fantastic. I have a lot more to say, but I'd love for Shay to jump on in, serve it up. Shay, give us your first reaction to Marty Supreme.
Yeah, I mean, to go off of the music in this film, I mean, Daniel Lopatin also is someone who's worked a lot with The Weeknd, another fellow Canadian, and you can see a lot of that influence in this movie as well with the score that's pumping through the movie, and it's as exhilarating as watching a ping pong game, as watching a table tennis game, which is why I don't play it, because I'm not meant for it. But you're watching this game going back and forth, and it's just, serve after serve and hit after hit. And this movie is constantly doing that to you as well. You're being hit from left to right by all these amazing stories, by all these amazing characters. And every single person in this movie does a phenomenal job. And Anthony, I may disagree with you here, but I think Kevin O'Leary, who I despise as a person, I think he was great in this movie. There's just something about him where I'm like, he is such an asshole. He is such a bad person in real life, but somehow in this movie, it's working. And I saw the character and I really was drawn to the character for better or for worse. And it worked for me. I think Timothée is phenomenal. I mean, Daniel, you mentioned at the beginning of this review that he's been someone that we've brought up a lot on this show. He's someone that is one of the highest people that we'd love to get on the show one day. And it's amazing what he does as Marty Mauser. I think where my only, criticism would really come into play here is that I think I still see Timothée in this role. I think I still am seeing Timothée Chalamet doing it. I'm not seeing the progression of a character like we spoke about Leonardo DiCaprio in One Battle After Another, where I can separate Leo from that character and I can see somebody else in it. But I think I'm still seeing Timothée a little bit. And that's not to say that his performance isn't bad or anything like that at all. It's phenomenal. I think he sells the film. I think he is the immediate glue that keeps this movie moving together. And Odessa is fantastic as well. The last thing that I saw her in was Hellraiser from a few years ago. And she was just this really well, scared, and just what a creepy film that was. To see her in this movie, it seems like she's grown so much as an actress. And everybody else in this movie is fantastic. I think maybe you don't need Fran Drescher in this because she doesn't do much other than just make you go, when you're reading her name in the titles, like, oh, Fran Drescher's in this? Like, that's kind of like the reaction you get.
It's reminds me, because, Anthony mentioned Oppenheimer, where it's almost just like, oh, you really have a stacked just like lineup of people who are showing up to be in this, even if it is a small role. And it's not that it's stunt casting, but as soon as you see Fran Drescher, you almost understand Timothée Chalamet's, you almost understand Marty more when you see his mom. And then from the very first scene with his mom, and you see kind of like what their dynamic is like and how they're always kind of trying to keep this guy at home under their control. You see her and you're like, I get it, but again, to that though, I wish there was more for her to do, because she is always such a fun presence. And when they do go at it in the film, you're like, oh, like this movie could use more of this, because they are so fun together. And this is already a long movie.
Yeah, definitely. And again, like it's a movie that I think really shows America's entitlement. I think Marty is such a great character as America as a whole, because all he wants to do is just say he's the best and how he deserves this and how he should be doing this and how he should be doing that. And the rest of the world, kind of like us watching America sometimes here from Canada, we're just like, chill out. Like, you're kind of killing the buzz right now. So there's a lot of that in this movie, but man, it is such a ride. It is a bit of a longer film too, at 2.5 hours. There are parts that can definitely feel a bit slow, but overall, you're just gonna have a great time with this movie.
Yeah, he really represents that American dream. Like, he is the American dream, but with it comes the arrogance of just that idea. But you're right, Shay, because when you see Marty, you even though Timothy's doing he's doing a great performance, you still see Timothée in this character. And I don't know if it's the script or what he's given to say, but he doesn't feel like this is a character from that era. He feels very modern, the way he talks, the way a lot of the words. I'm like, I don't believe they were saying some of these things back then.
Yeah, like, why would he say, add me on Twitter? Like, that's so weird. Like, why would he say that in the movie? Like, make sure to like and subscribe. And I'm like, Marty,
guys,
what are you talking about?
My aura when I'm playing table tennis right
now is unreal. I swear to God, he called everyone an unk. It was crazy.
Yeah. Did you guys watch New Stranger Things? That's not even a thing yet.
Yeah, no, it's just, and his supporting cast is very much of that era, where he feels so not of that era. And I think that, I don't know if that was on purpose or why he feels this way, or maybe that's what Josh wanted to see, but he does feel disconnected from the world that we're given on the screen, everything around him, the surroundings. But like, all the little characters that are added to this massive story are just, it's just spot on. And I really like Gwyneth Paltrow's character, because she does play like this actress, kind of like she's past her prime, but she's married to Kevin's character, and how they kind of connect, and just her presence. I like Gwyneth Paltrow as an actress when she's acting and not doing weird goopy things, but I
weird goopy things.
Things, 100%. But I enjoyed a lot of the smaller characters in this movie as well. Like, even the gangster, who I don't know his name, but he is just the gangster with the dog. Like, this random guy that they just interact with is just like, they pulled this guy off the street, and he does such a great job. He does remind me of the character in Uncut Gems. The one who at the end shoots.
100%.
Adam Sandler, like these guys right from the streets, like, just pull them off, and they can deliver these lines and be this character.
I believe that he was going to kill everybody. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing with a lot of the characters you see in the Safdie brothers films throughout the years. It's like you believe they cast like these real people. It's almost like Sean Baker with Anora and just all of his films, where you're just like, we're getting these people because they feel believable. And that almost that kind of lends itself to, I think, Kevin O'Leary's casting, because again, as someone who Shark Tank is always on in a hotel room whenever we're in it, or like at home, I'll watch an episode or whatever. He played a character who I think you're not supposed to like, because the kind of person that he is. in this movie. And I think his casting, I think his performance actually is, very fitting in the film because he's doing what he knows. But it's still like, oh, that's Kevin O'Leary. And it's funny too because Gwyneth is also on Shark Tank sometimes. So I'm like, oh, we have two sharks right now in here with just the craziness that's going on.
I think to your point, Daniel, that moment that I think that broke me out of the film for a quick second was when Kevin says to Marty, I'm going to make you an offer. And I just immediately heard it from the show. Like I heard, I don't know.
Yeah, he was trying to get a royalty from Marty, I think, at one point. He's like, no, I need to wet my beak a little bit.
Yeah.
Call me Mr. Wonderful. It's interesting.
Did he not? I feel like maybe he did say Mr. Wonderful in the movie and I might have missed it.
Could you? I would have been surprised. But again, there's so much to this film. And, when we left, we were talking a little bit how this reminds me a lot of a movie that like Scorsese would make, where it's just like you have all of these really interesting characters. You have this really interesting world. And you just enjoy being in this world. At 2 hours and 30 minutes, you're in this world for a long time. And this movie just starts like a shotgun. And you're going on this ride. It's your heart's pumping. It is intense. It's anxiety filled. But then throughout this movie, you're seeing why Marty is the way that he is. Yes, he's this table tennis champion. He's this brilliant, savant when it comes to this. But then he has everything else, the noise around him that this movie starts to focus on. And it loses focus on the ping pong, but that's also the point of it. Because here's this guy who wants to be the best in the world. I want to play table tennis. I want to do this. But the amount of side quests that this guy is going on to survive is what makes this movie. And I think Odessa is just so wonderful in this film. She really is, I think, just a heartbeat of this movie. It's at a lot of points because you care for her so much, but you also see it, even in this film, Marty says, he's just like, where I come from, like, it's every man for himself. And it feels like that when you're watching this movie. You don't know who to trust. You don't know who's going to make what decision, because at the end of the day, we're rooting for Marty to win. We're rooting for Marty to do well, but it doesn't mean we're rooting for him for the type of person he is. We're rooting for him because we're seeing through his perspective, but he's not the greatest person to be around. And we spoke to that. Shay spoke to that. Anthony spoke to that about this entitlement that he has. You're just like, okay, this guy feels like he needs to be the best. And when he doesn't win, guess what he does? He says they're cheating. He says that's not right. It's like, how relevant is that to the world that we're living in today? Because that's just how things work. When people don't get their way, it's unfair. You cheated. It's not right.
Pretty sure he called somebody woke as well. I could be wrong.
Probably. Again, this guy is just using all these terms that are very
from the
popular
modern
today.
age.
From the modern age. But no, it's honestly Marty Supreme leaving it. And again, like, it's one of those movies that I loved it leaving it, and I loved it even more the next day. It's just a fantastic film. It really is one of the year's best. It's going to be a movie that, like Anthony said, it's going to be timeless. It's a movie, I'm wearing a Criterion hat right now. This needs to be in Criterion Collection. This needs to be a movie that gets preserved and gets looked at and looked at. Because, like, again, I mentioned, the last few Christmases we've been with Timothée. The other movie I was thinking of is actually Dune Part 3, which is next year coming out in December. So it's like we've been spending 4 Decembers with this guy. He knows that people go to the movies to see him. And that's awesome to have, what feels like a movie star. And people like supporting him, and I'm excited to see him because he is great throughout this film.
Yeah, it's a film, like we said, when we left, I felt different. Like after I was going through my little Marty Supreme after we finished this movie, but I just felt like, man, everything from this film I'm just recalling over and over again, from costume design to production design. This movie feels like they were living in a real time. I think that Darius shot it so well. Like, this is the guy who shot Seven, like this guy shot it on film. Like, this is like the contrast and the color palette for this movie feels of that time period. It there's a lot of things I just want to go back and rewatch again and see it again. And my biggest criticism, there's a little bit of a lull in the middle, but I can get over that because of the whole thing that was given to us. I think it's a fantastic film.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about Darius, who shot Seven, shot Uncut Gems, Lost City of Z, like all these gorgeous looking films. But also look what he's done this year and who he's worked with this year. Mickey 17 he shot with Bong Joon-ho. He shot Eddington, with Ari Aster. And now he's working with Josh Safdie. This is a guy who is just, I think, not spoken about enough, like the way we talk about, so many other, cinematographers that we love. Like this guy's one of the best. This is a gorgeous looking movie.
He's a Roger Deakins guy, he's up there.
The Hoyt Van Hoytma, like these are people that we talk about because they're obviously doing really big films, but this guy is shooting some of the best looking movies constantly every single year. I'm just trying to think, for you guys, other than this, it's a longer film, some characters are not getting all the time they want. Again, Tyler, the creator in this film, loved him. Every scene he's in, he is fantastic. He is literally going back and forth with Timothée Chalamet like it is a table tennis match. He is so fun to watch. Is there anything else in Marty Supreme that did not maybe like work with you guys as much? Anything that comes to mind? I feel like I'm asking because we're so positive on it, where I'm like, oh, let's try and we have to pull something.
I think our criticisms are valid, and I think what we've said, I mean, Anthony's position on Kevin O'Leary, I think, we talk about Timothy's performance, how it's fantastic, but it never reaches the heights that we're hoping for. And then again, some characters here and there, but as a whole, it's a really damn good movie still, and it's going to be in our top 10, I'm pretty sure, when we do our year-end wrap-up. So
I think for me, I wish it got a little bit more wilder in the story. I think of Anora and how it just has like this slow ramp to the extreme, and then after that, I feel like because of the lull in that middle part, it is a roller coaster ride. But I think I enjoy a film more when the extremes get so high that they have to like figure it out from that point on. Where his high is kind of matched by a period in his time where he comes back from England, and they stick to this point where he has to go to Japan to face this guy who he lost to, and it spent a really long time there. And there's a lot of scenes that I think could have shaved off. And we're with Anora, because I compare it to Anora because it has this intensity, this anxiety that's given. You go on the ride after that whole house scene and the aftermath, and I think that's what I wish this movie kind of did. Follow that track and not have many days pass or weeks pass and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. And listen, at the end of the day, Timothée is amazing in this. And I think, when you think of those early like Leonardo DiCaprio roles, so like you were getting Leo, you were getting that style of acting from him. And I think Timothée kind of has that style. It wasn't like, oh, this is a big transformation for him. It's like, no, this is just great acting. And I think we take it for advantage for sometimes when we have somebody who's just consistently this good all the time. But yeah, I wanted to ask you guys before we wrapped up, and it's funny because Shay, you're wearing the Mark Kerr shirt. We have two Safdie brothers films that are out in the fall from A24, starring very big names about athletes who go to Japan to compete. There's a lot of overlapping, similar themes in this about
who's got the most sauce. Is that your question?
No, I'm not asking about who has the most sauce.
No, that's what Marty said. Sorry, in the movie. That's what Marty said in the movie.
Oh,
sorry.
Got you. He's like,
who's got the most sauce?
I'm just curious for you when you see both of the Safdie brothers and kind of like the movies that they went on. It's an interesting coincidence that there's a lot of overlap. Obviously, our review is out for the Smashing Machine right now. You could go hear our thoughts on that. But how would you compare the Smashing Machine and Marty Supreme as two movies with these similar themes? Who does have the sauce? I will ask you, who does have the sauce when it comes to these two movies?
I think Josh at this point, but well, I think Shay, you mentioned this in the car, that I think they need to be together to make the perfect, Safdie film.
That was me when we spoke.
Daniel.
Yeah, that was me, because it was like, I was just like, oh, like together, like separate, you see like these different things, but then together you're like, oh, you fill in the blanks,
Yeah, but for me, I think Josh, just because this movie feels there's so much more energy in this movie compared to the Smashing Machine.
Yeah, I think kind of same here. Like Josh, I think is a very good storyteller, and I think that Benny is a really good character developer. I think some of the best things about Smashing Machine are those characters and are those transformations that these characters kind of go on. But when you're looking at them together, when you put your hands together, that's kind of when you get the best of both worlds. And Benny, being a really good actor as well, it makes sense why he's so good at kind of tapping into the actor and really getting that performance out of them. And on top of that, really developing that character. And Josh is just really good at setting the scene, at setting the story, at pushing things forward. So you really do need them both together, because if I had to have one movie this year that both Safdie brothers worked on, and I would say that it'd be Marty Supreme. And I think having Benny a part of Marty Supreme would have pushed this movie to the point where any of the criticisms that we had, small or not, they would have immediately been addressed. And I think that's what made that film fantastic. It is fantastic already, like I said, but just the overall, like, breaks the wall kind of level that we were hoping for.
Yeah, it's the alchemy, right, that you have when you have both of them together. But let's do it. We've reached the end. We've been talking about Marty Supreme a lot. Let's get to our final recommendations for Marty Supreme. And Anthony, I'm going to get you to start us off.
This is an uncut gem of a movie. Must watch.
I love it. I'm right there with you. I'm also going to call it I'm going to say it's an uncut real gem. This is one of the best movies of the year. It's a movie that I cannot wait to watch again, because like One Battle After Another, which is currently like my favorite film of the year, I think this movie's only going to skyrocket and get better on multiple viewings. Timothée Chalamet is a movie star, and he is becoming somebody who, you think a lot, again, we mentioned Leo a lot, who is choosing the right roles, being in the right movies, working with the right directors, and I just think he's making magic. And even if I am seeing him, and sometimes you see the strings of like, oh, I know that's a Timothée Chalamet way of acting. He is so damn good in Marty Supreme that I would be so happy to see him on the podium this year and finally, reach that final level of greatness that he's been chasing for so long. But again, this is a young actor who I think his best days are still ahead of him, and to see what he's worked on already is amazing. Marty Supreme, real gem. Go watch it. You will not regret it. Shahbaz, take us home.
Yeah, this is a definite real gem as well. It's amazing. It's so good. It'll keep you glued, and it's one of those movies that around Christmas time, it's gonna feel really right to watch. Yeah, just go watch it. Like we've already said enough. Go watch the movie.
Marty Supreme is in theaters on Christmas Day. If you want to dream big, that is the day to do it. Again, we want to say a huge thank you to our friends here at Elevation Pictures in Canada for allowing us to watch this film. A24 is releasing it in the United States. There is so much more movie podcasts to come before the end of the year. You are already in the right spot. Check out our show notes below to find out everything and more, everything that we're working on, everything that we have coming out. We have so many incredible videos on Instagram and TikTok, so please go engage. A like goes a long way. Comments and shares are so appreciated, and we love when you do that for us. But that's all we got for you. We got some cool stuff coming up. That was This Time with the Movie Podcast, and we'll see you next.